Happy new month, everybody. How are you doing? Are you feeling excited about accomplishing all your goals? Because our show today is exactly about that. We are at Kingfisher Nest Hotel, and my guest is none other than Amadou Chico Sissoko, which I was trying to explain to him. If I butcher your name, I'm so sorry. Yeah. It's a beautiful name, but I might just end up calling you Chico because that's a little easier.
I'll fix it if you butcher it.
Okay. Now, Amadou Chico Sissoko is a life coach, is a business coach. He's someone who goes to tastemakers, to entrepreneurs, and tries to help them move closer to their dreams, to their purpose, to their goals. And so if ever there was someone that we needed to have on the show to share with us how to make sure that your goals are aligned with your month-to-month checklists and what you're doing, it's him. And it's today. That's what we're talking about. Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much for
How are
having
you doing?
me. I'm doing very well.
Are you feeling well rested? I know you just traveled.
Yeah, I had a great weekend with my family, so made them some good barbecue. And so that was a good moment. Had a lot of laughs.
Next time I want to be involved. Nyama Choma was involved, or?
No, we do barbecue, slow cooked, juicy, tender. It's made with love.
Hey, look, I'm there. I'm ready. When it happens next, call me up.
For sure.
I'll be there.
Sure.
Now, tell me a little bit about yourself. I know that you were born in Guinea, is that? Yeah? Tell me about your background.
So I come from a family of leaders. My grandfather was multiple times governor in my country. And my mom and my dad were also pioneers. My dad started the first private clinic in Guinea. My mom also is an entrepreneur. They had divorced when I was young. So I really was around people who were always talking about service to others, and they were always giving a lot of themselves to others. When I was 8, my parents sent me to the US. They thought I would have a better education there. However, I grew up with an aunt who was not mentally stable. I found that out like when I started working on myself many years later, that the only reason she could be so aggressive and so demeaning and so brutal with me was that she must have had some sort of mental issue, and that because I was coming from a background where I was the first kid, I was a bit spoiled, so I was like given the freedom to do whatever I wanted. She wanted to contain me, so she would beat me very often, insult me, humiliate me. So between 8 and 12, I really had this childhood where I was one child at home, very calm, very obedient, and then I was this rebel outside who was fighting, who was getting expelled from school. And then I came back to Guinea where my parents were divorced. They hadn't told me that they were divorced. So I just came back from this traumatic environment into another environment which was much better in terms of socio-economic status. We were a well-off family, very influential. But there was no family unity. There was no family unit that I could go back to. So my family unit became my friends, who weren't very mature themselves. So I was the youngest, 14, so we would go out to drink, party with girls. And so that's how I got accustomed to this life of doing whatever I wanted. Yeah. And but I remember growing up that those experiences were all molding me into the person that I am today, because the resilience that I have that enables me to thrive in whatever I do comes from that childhood of always saying mom is gonna come get me, I'm gonna get out of this situation, and then also overcoming that time with those bad friends, and then becoming a leader very young. So I think everyone's childhood defines who you are. That's why I tell people always be grateful for your parents, even when they screw up. That screwing up is what makes you great, right?
Absolutely. So I mean, you describe your grandparents, and both your parents as leaders. Did you feel the pressure of living up to that legacy of leadership? I
think in terms of children, it happens in two ways. So you have some children who are afraid to step up, and then you have some children who want to go beyond. So I'm of that group of people who I didn't want to be the puppet of my parents. So I didn't want to be the second generation. Hence why I went on my own trajectory, put myself through lots of different challenges. But I know today, for example, my wife created the first moving wooden tent, right?
Wow.
For the event industry.
Yeah.
She's one of the top event designers in Kenya and East Africa. But we have a daughter who, when she looks at that, and she looks at me and says, you've published a book, you've done all these things. I don't know if I've ever lived my childhood. I'm afraid I'll never live my childhood because I can't live up to you. Then we explained to her that actually it's an advantage when your parents are high achieving because both of them can come together and nurture you to grow. So I was the more on the other side of I wanted to outdo my parents.
Okay, so how did you end up being a business coach and a life coach, given that sort of tumultuous background and that rebellious streak? How did you come out of that?
Well, I had my first child when I was 18, right? And at that time, my parents, especially my dad, wanted me to be a doctor. I got a scholarship to go study medicine. But then the many years of going to study medicine seemed like I wouldn't be able to take care of my child, right? Okay. And at 18 already, I had that responsibility.
Yeah.
But then I was also learning from my parents' mistakes in their own businesses because they had some successful businesses, but they were making a lot of common mistakes. So after dropping out of university in med school, then in engineering school, and then in another business school, I thought to myself, maybe school is not the way for me. Let me go into training to learn from other business people. So I signed up for a lot of trainings, and I was learning with very successful business people, but were making many, many mistakes. Right. So I would take note of all those mistakes, and that's how I started learning. And then over time, I'm really passionate about creating opportunities for other people. Yeah. Even more than myself before. Wow. So I thought that business would be the best way. If I help more business people succeed, we can create more jobs. We can help more people get out of poverty. So that became more of my focus, and it's something I excel in. I think there's people who are good in cooking, there's people who are good in dancing. I'm good in business. I am good in solving business problems, complex business problems.
Okay, so what would you say are the one or two traits that really helped transform your life?
I have this audacious faith in God's ability to work through man to make visions a reality, right? So I believe that any vision that I see in my mind, I believe it's been given to me by God, and that because I can see it, and if I believe it, I'm gonna make it happen. And whatever it is, like right now, I wanna make 1 million millionaires in Africa by 2030, right? In dollars.
Millionaires.
Yes.
$1
million millionaires.
That's a twister, a mind twister. $1 million millionaires.
In Africa by 2030. And these people will be below 40. And I've seen this clearly in my head. I've been working towards it for many years now, and I know it's possible.
Who right now is watching and thinking, I want to be there? I want to, me.
Yeah. Well, you see, if you believe it, you means you'll be there. Yeah. But there are some people who are sitting right now and thinking, he's crazy. So they're not part of my target audience, right? Yeah. They won't get it yet. They will with time, but I focus more on those who can get there. Okay. The second trait is I think I have a high level of empathy. It means that I put myself in other people's shoes, which enables me to understand people very, very quickly. Okay. So on the other hand, also it enables me to recognize my own errors very quickly because I feel like if I'm always improving myself, I can be better to help other people. Yeah. So I'm a flawed individual. I make many mistakes. I'm not perfect at all, but at least I recognize that. Yeah. Compared to others who are in the same space as me, who are, because I talk to very influential people. Others, they talk to masses of people who maybe don't have as much influence, right? But in both cases, you have a lot of people who look up to you. And when you're in this position, and you may know this very well, you tend to want to have a cover because you don't want people to see your vulnerabilities because some people could use them against you. But what I've learned is in the era of today, empathy and emotional intelligence means that you are vulnerable, you're human. And the more people can see that human side of you, the more they'll love you, the more they'll love your work, the more they'll relate.
Connect.
Exactly.
Yeah. Have you read Brene Brown's books or watched any of her TED Talks? She's an amazing
Brene Brown.
Brene Brown, a doctor, a psychologist, I believe, and focuses a lot on vulnerability and allowing people to just be seen, but also being careful about who you show your vulnerabilities around.
And that's empathy, because if you can step in people's shoes, you can understand their intentions very quickly.
And that makes you an amazing leader.
Exactly.
Okay, so what does a typical day look like? Now, driving back the conversation to monthly goals and goal setting. What does your typical day look like? So
I'm fortunate with my wife. We design a very simple life, right? Whereas we live in Tigoni in the tea side of because we want to live in nature. We homeschool our children, and we also have our businesses within where we live, right? So it gives us the freedom to have our own schedule. However, because of the work I do, sometimes I have to travel often. So if I need to travel, let's say to Ghana to train, or to Nigeria, or let's say I'm here, my days I don't have like, I can't say I have like a structured day. Because I understood very early that I couldn't fit in that type of, so I tried to build a life that wouldn't be structured. So I don't have like an office or any of those things. So when I schedule meetings, either I invite people to come to my place in Tigoni, because in that environment, like creativity just spurs, people come with their issues, we leave them at the gate. So by the time they leave, they feel more, more relaxed, right?
Okay.
And also, I think that because we're so high and ambitious, not over ambitious, but ambitious in the sense that everything we do, we want it to be well done. So we give ourselves that freedom to spend more time on the things that are important. So building our team, for example, spending more time listening to the goals of our children. And then when you set up a meeting, you want also that person to gain a lot of value. So you're not rushing people. So you ask them like, where do you want to meet? So I have a very flexible schedule, but when I go to train, I am all in. Yeah, like the days I have training, like nothing else can happen that day besides training, because I'm 300% inside. But the rest of the time, we could decide tomorrow we go cycling or.
I love that. I love that it's you go with the flow, but it still has a sense of focus.
There's a plan. Like you have a clear vision of your year, your 5 years, your 30 years. I go up to 2,100. The legacy that I'm going to leave behind. And it's very consistent. So if I look at who I'm becoming today, it's actually very consistent.
Right.
Because I have that.
I love that. 2,100. What? Okay. Well, we have to take a quick break. But before that, here are some wise words from Chico. And he shares how to go about planning. Do you start with the 1-year goal, 2-year goal, 5-year goal, 30-year goal? So take a look at what he had to say.
When you're planning your goals, you should always start with a bigger vision. So you can start with 5 years, define exactly what you want to be in 5 years, what you want to achieve in 5 years, what you want to be known for in 5 years, what you want to be remembered for in 5 years. And then come back to 3 years. Do the same thing. What do you want to be in 3 years, what you want to achieve in 3 years, how much you want to earn in 3 years, then come back to 1 year. And you'll notice that between the 5, 3, and 1, there are some things that are very consistent. Those are the goals you want to really focus on. So I always start with the bigger picture and then come back to the smaller picture.
Welcome back, everybody. We're at Kingfisher Nest Hotel. It's the 1st of November, and what better time to talk about goal setting and making sure that you've planned your month right. And our guest today is none other than Amadou Chico Sissoko, who's a business coach and the guy that you want to talk to about all things planning. So, Chico, first question to you. How do you go about goal setting? What are the steps when you're planning your month? How do you go about it?
All right. So I generally think that we all have a purpose, right? You have a bigger purpose. So once you have a bigger purpose, you want your goals to be aligned with your bigger purpose. So you don't want to have goals that take you in a direction away from your fulfillment, right? So you want to set goals that are in alignment with where you want to go in life, what you want to become. And so I came up with this framework, and I don't think I invented it, but I just put it together and then made it simpler for people, is that in your life, you have 7 elements that are the basis of your life: your personal life, your relationships, your physical life, your professional life, your finances, your spirituality, and your aspirations. So I generally set goals around those, knowing that I am never going to be balanced with all of them. Like, I'm never going to be excelling in all of them, but I want to find balance. So for example, your professional life could be great. You could be like on all the shows, everybody wants to work with you, but your relationships are bad, right? Your family feels like you're not connected, your friends feel like you're absent. So what do you do then? Do you try to fix your relationships? No, you focus on continuing to build your professional life. Because that is temporary. It's going to fix itself with time. Once you shift the focus, what happens is this also falls apart.
So essentially what you're saying is balance is
focusing on what works.
Okay. Okay.
Because there's always going to be something that doesn't work.
Right. I mean, I've got questions about that. But what if certain aspects of that relationship is time sensitive? Maybe, for instance, your child is growing up and you can't really reclaim those moments. Or maybe someone isn't feeling too well and it's the last couple of months or years. You don't know how much longer they'll be around.
Definitely. That's why I believe the goals need to be integrated with your purpose. If you bring your children into the work you do, you make them a part of your work, they're not separate to it, right? Okay. If your family, friends are conscious of what you're trying to achieve, they're not like separate to what you're doing. So when you also make your workplace understand how valuable your family is to you, when you need to move out of work to take care of your family, it won't be like you're stepping out of one into the other. It's all like into one same bowl. Okay. So the idea is this: when I'm setting goals, I want to make sure that my personal goals, my professional goals, my financial goals, my aspirations, the things that like my bucket list, the things I want to achieve, and my relationship with God, my health, I want to make 1, 2, 3 goals in each of those sectors for the month.
Okay.
Right?
Those seven. Okay.
Knowing that, being very conscious that this month that just ended, I may have been going through a very tough time with my husband or my wife, right? Yeah. But I don't want to bring that into my workplace. Because I know if I bring it into my workplace, it's going to affect my professional life. And then that's going to affect my finances. And then which is going to make me sick. Exactly.
Then it keeps
and vice versa. I want to be able to continue excelling in my workplace, right? Acknowledging that the relationship, there's something in the relationship that I need to bring into the workplace, and there's something in the workplace I need to bring into the relationship. Because everything is intertwined. So when you're setting goals, you're not just setting a goal for money, right? What are you going to do with the money? It's so that you can be able to do something else, which is related to another aspect of your life. So every time I set goals, may it be, I always start long, then come back short, right? Long term, then start with the end in mind, then come back slowly. So the month, so let's say I set for the month, then I want to come to the day. And in the day, I want to come to the part of the day, right? And so if you can be able to have that ego view, then ant view on your goals, it's easier for you to achieve them because you have more reasons to make them work. So you're not going to say, I just want to make money for the sake of paying the bills. I want to make money because I know that money may be a problem in my relationship. One of the challenges that we're having is because of finances. So if we can settle together this financial issue, it will solidify our relationship. So the goal has a bigger meaning. I think that many people think that goal setting is very practical. It's just about, oh, I wrote it down. Yeah, writing it down is very important, but you have to feel the need to make that goal a reality. And if that feeling is not very hard, like when I was writing my book, I used to put my daughter's pictures on the side of the computer, right? And I said, I'm going to publish this book because I want one day for them to earn royalties from it. I want one day for them to learn from it, right? That's not, that some people don't do that. So I look at that and then I type. So when I'm tired and I'm exhausted and I don't want to, I look at it, oh, okay. You see, so you always have to look at whatever you want to achieve in your month tied to everything else around you.
I love, those are some gems you just dropped there. So what are the implications for some people? Just think or feel maybe in them it's not like them to plan, to sit and figure out and set goals. So what are the implications of not taking time to plan out your month, your day, your week?
That's very easy. You'll be poor. You'll be sick. You'll be frustrated. You'll be unsuccessful, right? Your life will be unfulfilling. You'll be worth nothing. So any other thing that I can add to that, right? You can't succeed without planning. It's impossible. Success is not something that comes by chance, right? To be able to be of value to anyone today, because that's it, like your value, right? And the more value you have, the more you can charge, the more you can earn, right? And that value has to be backed up by concrete actions. Like people have to be able to look back 5, 10 years and say, wow, this guy or this lady has been consistently growing in this field or in these fields over time. And if you ask them, anyone who tells you, it's by luck, they're lying. They're just trying to humble it down. It's not true. You don't succeed by luck. You're not here by luck. You sat down and said, okay, this is what I want to do. Then you write it down and you come back to that. So if you don't have a journal that you're keeping on a day-to-day basis, right? If you don't even use Google Calendar, right? You won't succeed.
Right.
You're like going straight towards failure. And don't blame anybody, blame yourself.
True.
So for me, it's like, it's either you plan to succeed or the people say you plan to fail. Like, I mean, like, you're gonna fail miserably.
And no one wants that. No one wants that. So is it ever okay to step away from the plan?
Yes. I think that plans are not, I don't see life in black and white, right? That gray spot is actually where a lot of innovation, a lot of intuition is. You may have something that you've planned to do, but then you don't feel it, right? There's a part of you that says, you know, this doesn't feel right. Maybe I need to modify it, right? Someone says, no, you're always changing, you're always changing, you're always changing. No, I also feel. And if I feel like it's not right, because by experience, I've seen that my intuition is always right. If I feel it's not right, I'm not doing it. And that doesn't mean that I'm not following my plan. Because my plan is what? It's a journey. I'm going into a direction. I want to leave a legacy. God has put me here to achieve something, right? Now, that thing will never be in a straight line. I've never seen someone's life who's making massive impact or who's massively successful, massively wealthy, that your life has a straight line. I'm divorced. My wife is divorced. We met, we were divorced. We brought two groups of children together and then had another child. Now, our life will not have the same trajectory as anybody else. Which book is going to explain to us how we're supposed to be married or how we're supposed to build a relationship? You're not going to be able to tell us because you haven't lived what we've lived. And when we'll find someone who's lived what we lived, they're also amongst the few people like us who have gone through this type of trajectory. So when you look at your life, you need to understand that it's never going to be a straight path, right? Your journey is unique to you. Your philosophy is unique to you. Your Bible is unique to you. Your Quran is unique to you. Your relationship with God is unique to you. So whatever He will set for you and how the mistakes you make to get there, it will be, a journey of its own. So no one should blame themselves and say, okay, I didn't follow the plan. However, there are some actions you do need to take. And if you consistently don't take the actions, then you're never going to get anywhere, right? So it's about like having the rational and the intuition. So you have the rational, okay, this is what I'm supposed to do, but how I'll do it, I can change that. But at the end of the day, I want to leave a legacy where I've impacted a billion people, actually, it's 1 billion people. And I want to do that by empowering the most outstanding 100,000 leaders in Africa so that they can make more impact than they believe they can, right? I can start it through training. But then after that, I say, you know what, I don't think training, I've done training, I want to invest in people now. I'm going to tell them, no, you're a trainer, you're not an investor, you're supposed to say, no. It's a journey.
And I can see that. I mean, even just listening to you speak right now, I'm just like, look, we need to be flying, we need to be on next level, we need to be growing and expanding. So I can tell, not that you need any more, confirmation, but you are living out your purpose.
I am.
We have to take another quick break, but before that, we're going to leave you with some wise words from Amadou, which for now, what he's going to explain to you is how to overcome social pressures. Because a lot of us may have a goal, may have our vision in check, but we just end up succumbing to what society wants, what our friends are asking of us. So how do you overcome that? Take a look at what he had to say.
Well, I think it's impossible to pursue greatness while fitting in. That's just a fact. Like, you cannot be extraordinary by being ordinary. It always pushes you to go out of the circle of comfort that's been created around you. So if you want to be great, you first have to understand that great people are people who push the world forward. And not everybody pushes the world forward, so you're not like everybody else. You have to understand that. You have to know yourself, know in you that you have some qualities, some skills, some mindsets, some abilities that other people don't have. And even those who have, they don't have the same vision as you. So unless you go out there and start doing it, you won't be able to achieve it. And once you will start going out there to do it, you're going to make a lot of people uncomfortable around you. And their uncomfort is what will be criticism. That's what they'll try to put you down. That's why they'll try to make you feel like you're trying to be someone else, right? So you should be like them because that's what keeps them safe. Hence why you have to already have the mindset that once I go out there to become great, I'm not going to be able to be like everybody else. So I have to accept what's going to come. Accept criticism, accept, what's it called, people who are dream killers, right? People who put you down. All those things will happen. But if you're very clear as to what you want to achieve, and you can surround yourself with people who are there or who are going there, you'll realize that those are the right people that you should be around, and these naysayers, you shouldn't be around them. But always keep in mind that to be great, you always have to be different from everybody else.
Welcome back, everybody. We're talking to Amadou, and he has been dropping gems. I really hope you haven't missed the first couple of parts because, whoa, I mean, I'm completely inspired by what you had to say.
Thank you.
And for now, I want to dive into your book, which details a lot of the failures that you've had to go through, which even earlier on, you were talking about some of the mistakes that you watched people around you making and how you were writing each one of these mistakes down. Now, your book is titled Start Within to Start Winning: How to Overcome Past Failures and Win in Your Life and Business. Can you tell us a little bit about your book and what inspired you to write it?
Well, the first book I wrote was called The Chapters of My Life. Okay. So I document, I have a diary that I've been keeping for like decades now. And I thought that my life would be a good example for people to learn from, right? Because I was going through a lot of challenges with my father, who wanted me to be something that he saw, but I didn't want to be. And then I went through a lot of, the challenges in society because I couldn't fit in, right? People wanted me to think a certain way. I was born a Muslim, then I became a free thinker because I had all these questions about God, and then I would have these moments of enlightenment and no one could understand. Yeah. So I wrote all this, edited it into a 400-page book, and I went to publishers in Paris, right? I had traveled from Czech Republic all the way to Paris by road, right? I stayed in Belgium, then came to Paris, sent to maybe 14 different publishing houses, 400 pages, 400 pages, 400 pages, printed everything and sent. Yeah. All of them rejected, right? All of them rejected me, and that was the beginning. That was like maybe in 2000 or I don't know, 2008.
How old were you?
I was what? 2008. I was 21.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, 21.
Yeah.
And so I failed in that, right? So I told myself, maybe I don't have the life for the book yet, right? Because a great book is a great experience, is a great story. And then so over time, after going through all these business failures and business successes, meeting the President Obama through the Yali Fellowship, and then all that I was writing, like writing, and then coming up with different concepts. I said, okay, let me put all these things together into a book that will teach people how to win in life. Because that's what I know how to do. Oh. You can throw me in the jungle, in the middle of, I don't know, anywhere, in the middle of the desert, anywhere. You give me a year, I'll be a leader in that place, right? And this is not something I was born with. These are things I've learned because I learned how to trick my brain. Yeah. So I said, how can I put that in a book? So that someone can learn from my own experiences, the failures that I've had, the successes that I've had, and this drive to always make it happen. That someone can read the book, apply it to their lives, and start winning.
In life and in business.
And in life and in business. Because also there's business tools that I've learned and that I've developed that I put in the book. The book will be free online on my website, the PDF, because I felt, why sell it when there's so many people out there who are failing and they don't know how to overcome failure? I said, if they want to buy it and put it in the library, perfect, you buy the paper copy. But I'll give it away as something that will be like my legacy as well, right? Because I always have this view of, I want to live 90 years, but I may die tomorrow. So if I'm going to die tomorrow, what am I doing today to make sure that I'm living my purpose? But if I have 90 years, what more things can I do? So yeah, so it's a lot of failures that I've gone through, more than the average human being, I think.
Right. I mean, your story is incredible. So, Chico, why is failure important, would you say?
Because it's only through failure that you learn, right? We are the most evolved beings in nature, right? And that's why they say God loves us more than others. And why is that? It's because He gave us this brain. And the thing is, you're never going to use the whole capacity of your brain, right? And even some people say that you lose your brain cells over the years as you grow old, right? Degenerative brain, whatever. But in reality, if you live a stress-free life and you're always learning, you'll live longer. People die because of stress and lack of new knowledge, right? So exercising the brain. Yeah. And what I've understood is that if you can train your brain to be the way you want it to be, you will become the person you want to become. But what does that mean? It means that the only way you can train your brain is by trying new things, right? So when I go into a business venture, like say right now we're going to go and set up, we're going to extend our business to Ghana. We're going to give ourselves a whole year to fail. Like this first year, we're going to try many things, right? We're going to try.
I love that. You're going to give yourself a year to fail.
To fail, right? Literally. You give yourself, that's why the first part of your life is failure, right? You're just failing, trying new things, trying new relationships. That's why, if you, whenever they say, oh, someone you was saved at the age of 7, I'm like, oh my goodness, how is that possible? You haven't done anything, right? Well, how do you know good? You don't know bad, right? So failure is good because it teaches you what is behind, like what's the lesson. And once you learn from each failure, because that's where people make mistakes. Because if you don't learn from your failures, you will be traumatized. Right. You will have some sort of mental issue, without a doubt. If you go from failure to failure, I've had, at my first year in Kenya, I had 26 failures in 1 year. That's not common.
I love that you were writing them down.
Because I was learning from them.
And that it's almost taking an active role
exactly.
in learning and
owning that part of you that knows nothing, right? So if I know that I know nothing, then I'm willing to learn. But why do I fail? It's because I think I know. I think I'm smart. Right. Yeah. And very high achieving people, that's why they're stuck, is because we're so accustomed to this, you're so good, you're so smart, you're so beautiful, you're so handsome, you're so this, you're so that, that we feel like we're so, we're so good, nothing. No, you have to take yourself out of that bubble. Stop hanging around those people. Go with people who actually will tell you, you know what, you haven't done anything.
That's right. What do they say? If you're the smartest guy in the room, you're in the wrong room.
You're in the wrong room.
You should be in the place where you're seeking learning and continuously learning.
Or if you're the smartest person of the dumbest village. Right?
That too. I've never heard that one, but okay.
So why be the smartest person in the dumbest village, right? So
it doesn't really count.
It doesn't help, yeah.
Wow. So where can people get your book?
Like I said, on my website, chicosinnovators.com.
And the physical copy?
The physical copy, I think in 2 weeks it will be here. We first launched it online, and then, because I had been traveling a lot, wanted to take time to do it properly. Okay. I want to say thank you to my wife, because she's the one who designed the book. Without her, I wouldn't be able to have done it. I think she's been a very great support, and that's why you have to choose your partner wisely.
It looks like you've got such a beautiful partnership. I was just going to say that.
Yeah,
it looks like
it's been, we've gone through a lot of waves and a lot of challenges, but I think in her I see the person that even if I die, she can pursue my legacy and vice versa. Wow. I think that's very important.
Yeah, and so that's essentially a partnership.
It has
really.
to be. It has to be.
Okay, thank you so much, Chico. It has been such a pleasure getting to learn from you, and not just learn, but be inspired by you. And I genuinely mean that. I genuinely mean that.
Thank you very much.
You can find Chico online. He's got a YouTube channel. He's on Twitter, Chico Inspires. You can find him there. And remember to get his book, which you can also get for free online. Now I want to leave you guys with some more wise words from Chico. We've been talking about failure, right? And you briefly mentioned, or he briefly mentioned, that you also need to be wary of the successes and the number of people around you who are sort of gassing you up, like, yes. So how do you still make sure that you are grounded? How do you make sure that you are not complacent despite your successes and your wins? So this is what he had to say.
To be able to consistently win without having the big head or swelling into someone that you're not, you have to have very strong people around you. You have to have a very strong network of people who keep you checked. And I always ask people, what are the 3 things that I need to stop? What are the 3 things that I need to improve? What are the 3 things that I need to start doing? And I ask this to my mom, to my friends, even to my children. Because I always want to keep myself in check. Because I know that if I continue a year, 6 months, just doing great things, I'm going to think that I'm extraordinary, right? That nothing can stop me. That overconfidence is sin. It's going to lead me to take some decisions that are not the right decisions, either for me or for the people around me. So I've made sure that I've surrounded myself with people who are wiser than I am, who are wealthier than I am, who are smarter than I am, who have a bigger vision than I have. And then I honestly and humbly open up to them and tell them, you know what am I doing wrong? If you were in my shoes today, what would you be doing? And every time I do that, it always ends up, giving me a perspective on life that I didn't have before. And then I openly adopt it. I don't listen to everything they say, because sometimes they may not also see where I'm coming from. But I always have that in mind, knowing that, I also need to have my own barriers that I need to stay within.
Well then, there you go. I'm now going to leave you with a few wise words from Benjamin Franklin, and that's, by failing to prepare, you are preparing to fail. Let's not fail, guys. We want to thrive. We want to live out our best lives, fulfill our purpose, and it's the first of the month, so why not start now? You don't have to wait till the new year, January, which is what a lot of us do. New month, new goals. Get it going. Here's a quick TBT for you as well, given that it's Thursday. And so today we'll look back to the kind of books that little children read back in the day. Thanks so much for watching, everybody. I hope you enjoyed today's show. And thank you to Kingfisher Nest Hotel for the beautiful backdrop. We'll be back tomorrow and have a beautiful, productive, fulfilled month, ladies and gentlemen. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye.